Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, and I want to call the May 11th, 2026 regular council meeting for the town of Three Rivers to order. We have a considerable crowd here tonight. I'd asked you to make sure your devices, whatever they are turned off or on vibrate so you don't disturb the proceedings, and to please keep the conversations directed. Personal conversations between people tend to carry up here, so I'd ask you to refrain from doing that till after the meeting. So the first, so in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory, Epuwic, Prince Edward Island. Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Is there any more chairs for you in the closet there? No, go ahead. Okay, it's up to you. Okay. Before we begin our regular council meeting tonight, I do have a few things to say. Over the past several days, allegations and misinformation have been circulated on social media. Social media is a great thing if it's used for the right purposes. Regarding the province's response to a Freedom of Information request involving discussions between the province and Jeebus relating to the Heatherdale property in 2020. It is important that residents have accurate information and understand the role of Three Rivers in this matter. First and foremost, the town of Three Rivers was not involved in any negotiations. I repeat, not involved in any negotiations or agreements between the province of Prince Edward Island and the Jeebus Group in 2020. At that time, all planning, development, and building authority for the Heatherdale area rested solely with the province of Prince Edward Island. The town of Three Rivers did not assume responsibility for issuing development permits and development permits only within the boundaries of all of Three Rivers until March 2023, following the transfer of planning authority from the province to the municipality. Prior to March 2023, all development permits and building permits relating to the Jeebus Heatherdale properties would have been reviewed, approved, and issued by the province of Prince Edward Island. When the town's official plan and development bylaw received provincial approval in March of 2023, the town requested relevant files and background information from the province relating to the Heatherdale Monastery proposal. Those records have never been provided to the town, and I can say that again. Those records have never been provided to the town. We are not in possession of those records. In June of 2022, the province presented a proposed development agreement, including the province, Jeebus, and the town of Three Rivers, based on a master plan submitted by Jeebus. The town reviewed the proposed agreement with legal counsel. Our legal counsel at the time, and Jill was our previous CAO, was here at that time. And based on the advice we received, Three Rivers Council chose not to sign that agreement that was presented to us. Had this agreement been signed, Council would have been required to provide blanket development approval based on the Jeebus master plan for Heatherdale property. These master plans are reference documents, but each development application that comes to this town is assessed individually for compliance with our official plan and bylaws. This is important here. Since assuming planning authority in 2023, the town of Three Rivers has approved only 2 development-related applications connected to Jeebus and Heatherdale: a consolidation of lots and a development permit for a visitor center. It's a visitor center. These approvals were issued in 2026, just recently. I believe some people would have been at that meeting. It is important to clarify that development permits and building permits are separate approvals. I'm sure Randy is well aware of this after doing business with both. The town issues development permits under the development bylaw, our development bylaw, while building permits are the sole responsibility of the province. The town remains committed to ensuring residents have accurate information regarding municipal decisions and processes. We encourage residents to seek information from official sources and verified public records rather than relying on speculation or misinformation circulating online. Thank you. So our next is the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Moved by Ann, second by Councillor Spin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Third is disclosure of conflict of interest. Do we have any of conflict of interest? Is anyone in conflict of interest on anything on our agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the adoption of our minutes. The 4.1 is the adoption of the April 13th, 2026 regular council minutes, and I need a mover and a seconder for the approval of those minutes. Moved by Councillor Dorfers, second by Councillor McLean. Just going to get caught up here for a minute. Okay, and the second is to approve adoption of the April 27th, 2026 special council meeting. Motion to approve those minutes? So moved by Deputy Mayor Jenkins, second by. Any comments on? Okay, we'll leave the adoption. The next is I'm sorry. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Adoption of the April 29th, 2026 special council meeting minutes. Motion to approve? Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Jenkins, second by Councillor McDonald. Is there any comments? Did anybody, I'll give everybody a few minutes to look at those minutes. I know there's 3 sets. They're on page 3, 16, and 19 of your agenda. If you have any questions or concerns, you can bring them forward now, or we can address them at another time. Okay, I can't see. Okay. Okay. Okay, minutes are all okay. Okay, we'll move on to number 5, which is the RCMP report, and I believe we do have somebody from the RCMP here. Don't even have a chair for you tonight. I don't think I fit anyway. Yeah, okay. Good evening, Sergeant.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Button. There we go. Okay. I've never seen a crowd like this at a council meeting in my experience, from the Northwest Territories, and a little bit different here than it is where I come from. I'll try to make it quick because I'm assuming you guys are busy. You've all had the report that I submitted on Friday last week, so I'm sure you've all had a chance to review. So during the month of April, Queens District RCMP responded to several notable occurrences. One incident in particular of importance was involved a vehicle on fire. Upon arrival and assessment at the scene, it was determined that the fire was suspicious in nature. Members collaborated closely with the Fire Marshal's office to assist with the investigation. The file remains active, with evidence currently being followed up with. Additionally, members provided assistance with the provincial GIS unit and PDS, Police Dog Services, in executing a weapons warrant within the district. The warrant resulted in a successful seizure of a firearm, along with personal quantity of drugs and other prohibited devices. One individual was arrested during the operation. Charges are pending in court. Enforcement efforts were made throughout the month to target impaired driving. The purpose of it was to combat and reduce impaired driving, make the roads safer. This resulted in 3 drivers being located and charged with operation of a motor vehicle while impaired. These matters are currently before the courts. Additionally, 2 disqualified drivers were charged, and 1 individual faced with criminal charges for prohibited driving. We have the FIFA is coming up for for the within Canada. That's going to affect our resources, not just Kings County, but the whole of the RCMP across the country. We were also able to participate in a veterans lunch throughout the month of April, as well. We do have members leaving the detachment in the next month, and we also have a member coming in next month as well. This essentially covers off the police initiatives. As you can see, I'll go to the occurrences here. So persons crime remained consistent both in March and April and last April, ending the month with 17 occurrences compared with 21 for the last month and 19 for the last year. Assault, uttering threats, and criminal harassment each represented 5 occurrences. At 36, property crime levels were comparable with last month, 32, and last April, 39. These were mostly mischief and theft under occurrences, both were for 12. There's no drug enforcement occurrences that were opened in April that you may consider with the information that I said with regards to the weapons warrant that might contradict what's being said. However, it depends on the scoring that is matter, which is the drugs being a secondary item secondary item that was found where it was a weapons warrant being executed. There was just no reports made to the police about drug enforcement. So this is consistent with both last month and last year, 1 and 2 respectively. Traffic occurrences accounted for most of the incidents recorded in April with 151 incidences. This is the same level as last month for 142 and lower than last year at 186. My mistake here, it says 2 impaired drivers, it should say 3. That was a mistake that I noted today when I was going through the report. Both involving alcohol, and it's 3 people were charged for impaired driving. There were 2 dangerous operation motor vehicle incidences, one being cleared by charge. There was 9 collisions reported, significantly fewer than both last month and last year. Both were about 20. None of these involved fatalities. Overall, 337 occurrences were recorded, with 332 of these being founded or still under investigation. This is consistent with last month, with 323 occurrences, of which 316 were founded or still under investigation, were reported to the RCMP here. It is fewer than last year, where 393 occurrences were reported, with 377 founded or still under investigation, and the 12-month average for the district was 408 occurrences, with 394 founded or still under investigation. There's graphs that you can see for yourselves. There's also the stats when it comes to summary offense tickets and warning defects. I'm not going to go through those stats. You can see for yourself what the numbers are. Same with the town of Three Rivers. The list of criminal code offenses that are listed there. I'm not going to go too far into detail on it. However, some of these items look down in comparison to the previous month. Just for example, the non-moving and moving motor vehicle infractions, so we're down there compared to for 11 in comparison to March, which was 17. Theft over 10 occurrences, so that's increased in comparison to 6 for the month of March. But fortunately, we were down in assaults to 4 rather than 6 for the previous month. So, subject to any questions, that summarizes my report.
Thank you, Sergeant Robert. Any questions from council? I understand you're only here for a short time.
Yes, I'm only here. There's a new member that's been selected from Cape Breton. He's in the process of going through the relocation steps in order to transfer here. I'm hoping that it won't be too long before he gets here. He's got a house to sell and go through that, and with prices of homes, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we thank you for filling in.
Yes. my pleasure.
Any questions? Counselor Spin?
Yeah, people have asked me, are you allowed to actually smoke cannabis in your front yard without being charged?
Yes, you're allowed to smoke cannabis as long as if you're allowed to smoke cannabis in an area that's not within a specified distance under the Cannabis Act. I'd have to look at the exact distance, but you're essentially, it's like, for example, the best way I can describe it is treat it like alcohol. If you're not allowed to consume alcohol in the spot that you're in, then you're likely not allowed to consume cannabis. So, so you can smoke cannabis in your front yard if you want.
Or your backyard.
Or your backyard. It's not an issue. Yeah.
So there's no actual charge for
No, it'd be similar to like if someone was drinking a beer in their front yard, right? That's within their right on their property to do that.
Yeah, could they smoke it walking down Main Street, Montague?
Again, well, you can't be drinking a beer walking down the street in Montague. So technically, no, you can't. The big thing is there has to be some level of common sense when we're dealing with these types of things. The big thing, what we look for is if there's any youth around or how public it is. If someone's out in the back of a wooded area, then the thoughts of it might be a little bit different than if they were standing in front of Sobeys with cannabis.
Now, what about a youth?
Yeah, youth are not allowed to possess cannabis. So if they're caught smoking, they're in possession, and they're contradicting the Cannabis Act.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Counselor McDonald?
I just have a question on your list. One of them there says 911 Act, 10 incidents. Is that just people prank calls or?
It doesn't have to necessarily be prank calls. It's just calls to the number 911 that were not a valid call. So it could be that that someone was holding their like I went to one recently, and it was an elderly woman that was trying to deal with her voicemail, and she dialed the 911, and it went through to the police. So we were required to follow up with those. So every call that gets made to 911 is it affects our resources because members are having to go to those just for the mere fact that if there was something to it and we don't attend, then that's the public safety, and that's also a huge liability on the members too for not attending when someone could be needing help. So also too, it could be a landline, just a line. Sometimes the lines connect to the 911. I don't know how it is. For example, it was a few weeks ago, where I work out of Queens, there was no one was home, and it was just we got a 911 call. It was a static on the line. We don't know where it came from or how it got connected, but the number was associated to an address. There was no history of violence at that home. There's nothing to indicate that a 911 call was made. However, or it was made, but that someone was there that had made the call, and so we're required to go to those. So it would be that category would fall under that, but it could also be prank calls or fake 911 calls. There's a plethora of circumstances.
I just thought it was also really worth noting that, we're down this year over April last year, 57 calls to the Three Rivers community. So it'd be nice if that's an ongoing trend because, I noticed there's an additional on that, still that downward trend. Something that we didn't have in 2025 was 11 well-being checks, which I just think it's worth noting because we're, we talk about crime and this and that, but with 57 less calls and 11 of them this year being well-being checks, that's a good trend forward. Yeah.
My cat called 911 once. It sat on the phone, and for some reason it called 911, and I really got a scare. Somebody came to my back door, and I realized the cat was on the phone, so
Well,
that's how easy it can happen.
it's a party trick.
Yeah.
Get news.
Well,
Where'd you get news?
I don't know. They didn't really believe me, but that's what happened. Councilor McFarland, you have a question?
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. First off, thank you for your service. The FIFA tournament, how many officers will that affect in Kings County, and for how long? Or do you have a,
It's a short period as of right now. I think there's only what came up on my radar right now was about 5 days, about a week for looks like 3 members,
okay,
which is I'll find out more in the next little while. But we have there's restrictions in place so we can try and have people here.
still be coverage?
Some coverage, but there's
5 guys less, or five persons less?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
right.
We may not want to broadcast that.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, like we have a school resource officer that will be working once the school has slowed down. We'll be getting the resource officer working regular shifts with us, and then same too. We've got reservists that are coming to work with us, and we've got new members that are coming as well. So, yeah,
Thank you again, Sergeant.
you're welcome.
Okay, and I think we're all finished, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh. Okay, number 6, we move on to number 6 is the time for meeting for presentations and delegations, and tonight we have 6 speakers. Just get my, sorry, just, my computer went to sleep here. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so council values your input, and registered speakers are allotted 5 minutes. Tonight, we'd like you to keep it to the 5 minutes because we do have a full 30 minutes supposedly of speakers. During the presentation, council members will not engage in dialogue or debate, but may ask questions afterwards. To ensure a productive and respectful discussion, speakers are encouraged to maintain a professional tone, avoid personal attacks, and focus on matters within the jurisdiction of the municipality. While the speaker is presenting, all others in attendance must remain quiet and seated to allow the speaker to be heard clearly. Okay, first on our list is Darlene Scott. If Darlene would like to come to the podium. Yep. Okay, you're on. If you can just tell us your name and where you live for our records, where we do record these sessions.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Darlene Scott. I live at 25 Gall Road. I've lived there since July 2022. I'll keep my remarks very brief because I've already given them to the planning board because I'm here to speak to you tonight about the Gall Road Murphy Lane proposal that is in front of you for approval tonight. And even though I have had a number of concerns, I don't necessarily see them reflected in anything that has come since to your council. It looks to me to be an almost identical document, pretty much with the dates changed and a couple of typos fixed. So I do really appreciate the time. And I have copies of a more fuller document that I would like to leave, if that's possible. But I do understand that you'll be voting on this proposal tonight. And I did have a couple of questions, but I'll withhold them because I understand that we're not going to engage in questions. So first, I'd like to make a quick summary, because in short, I want the council to understand that I'm not opposed to residential buildings. I've served on the board of directors of the Canadian Mental Health Association in another province. I have considerable respect for the organization, for its aims and objectives, and its fight for affordable housing. So please understand that that's why I stand in front of you. To my take on this, however, is that the design is simply too big for the site. It's less than an acre, 0.84 of an acre. I don't think there's a realistic waste management and litter management proposal in place in the development. I don't think that the asphalt load in our existing neighborhood, which is really taking a beating, has been taken into consideration. Walkability is reasonably high in our neighborhood. We're a great neighborhood. We all like each other. Lots of walking, lots of scooters, lots of bicycles. We don't have any sidewalks. I don't, in the development proposal, see a firm cap on the height for the building, and as I've already said, I think it's too big and needs to be looked at. So I have specific recommendations about the proposal. I think that council should require a green space plan for this site, despite the fact that it's in mixed use and is going to be high density. I mean, that is a lot filled with beautiful trees, and I don't see a plan to save even one of them. I think the units, the number of units and spaces really needs to be considered. I understand high density, I understand mixed use, and certainly don't consider them to be the same thing. But I think the developer should be asked to downsize to fit the lot. Again, 0.84 of an acre. I have one house on a comparable sized piece of land 2 doors down. I think approval should be withheld until the waste management issues that I've raised before are dealt with. And I speak from experience here. There are lots of places in our town where there is insufficient outside storage for recyclables, cardboard, things like that. And we do, if there are problems with cleanup, we do call, and I'd like to thank Wayne Spinn for cleaning up a property that I called him about. Thank you for that, Councillor Spinn. But just sticking 48 bins on some asphalt behind a building isn't sufficient. There's going to, without inside storage, and I don't see very much in the plan, there's going to be lots of it outside, so that needs to be looked after. I think approval should be withheld until there's a strategy for night lighting at both Gall Road and Murphy Lane. I think sidewalks should be required on Gall Road and Campbell Avenue, hopefully to connect with the new sidewalks, which are beautiful, by the way, on Queens Road. Thanks for those. Those are my specific recommendations, but I have some general ones. I'll run through them very quickly. I think council should take it upon itself, if there is going to be a high-use, mixed-density proponent in our neighborhood, that we should have been told about that directly, because we're having trouble getting onto the speakers list because things to us are coming up fast. Maybe they've been in your system for months, but not in ours. We weren't aware of this. I wasn't aware of it until the 22nd of April. I think that if you're going to generally be approving mixed use and high density, we should take a really good look at some of the buildings and sites in our town that need a facelift. I've made reference to 2 of them in my, and provided photographs in my brief, but I don't know whether this town has inspectors that go out and tell people to clean up their property, but there's lots of them, including large mixed use and residential facilities that need a facelift. I can give you a list if you want it. I think that visual attraction is really, really important as we move forward. And again, I'm in the general area of my recommendations here, and I'm just going to wrap up. In a mixed-use zone, I think somebody needs to look at buffering 2 to 3 feet and plunking that down into the middle of a residential neighborhood. I don't know, that's got to be looked at. 2 to 3 feet is not very far. Like, there's no sidewalks, the road's already torn up, it's just going to get worse. It's certainly not going to get any better. I think that asphalt and curb both have to be taken into consideration before any high density or mixed use goes in place. And I think that you should consider, if mixed use doesn't have a green space requirement, that should be looked at too. So those are my comments. Thank you very much for listening. It's I love living in Montague, and it's wonderful to be able to come and speak to you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I can leave my questions till later.
Sorry.
I'm over.
Thank you, Darlene.
Yeah.
Do council have any questions for Darlene? No? Do you have something you want to leave with us?
Oh, no, I just had a question about, oh, yes, I have the
Yeah.
The document, yes, the longer one that I gave to the planning board and my summary comments tonight. My questions were about landscaping and the elevator.
Pardon? Okay,
Do you have it? Oh, great, wonderful.
okay.
So I'll leave the questions till later?
Yeah, well, you have a list of questions?
Just two. I'm wondering if the elevator that I seem to see in the plans is meant to service all 3 floors or only 2 floors? I mean, I can't grasp that. Does he? There will be an elevator, right? No?
Can-
There's room, yes.
Okay,
Will it, you're Randy, right? Will it serve? All 3 floors, okay, thank you very much. And the total landscaping is actually mentioned in this proposal 2 or 3 times, but I don't know what's gonna be landscaped except for a pond. Is that the total landscaping that's associated with this proposal?
yeah, go ahead, Lee.
That is it, okay.
No, Lee's gonna answer that.
Thank you, Worship. It's a mix of both. There's a lot of hardscaping because of the parking lot requirements. There's quite a hefty parking delivery required, so that does eat into those green spaces that you describe. The official plan looks to achieving better landscapes, but we have to balance the housing delivery against that. So you're going to have areas of hardscaping on this site, you're going to have fencing on this site, you're going to have the majority of the outside areas will be set over for car parking, and the remaining will be sort of the functional areas of the drainage scheme, which will lead into the on-site pond.
So there'll be no lawn, and I'm assuming no trees? Every mature tree on that lot is gonna be taken down? Not even the ones on the front gonna be saved?
It's not a requirement to save the trees, unfortunately,
Because of zoning.
because of the way the zoning works on that particular. It's slightly different on the Montague bylaw, Your Worship, where there was amenity space requirements. That's one of the more dramatic changes we've seen with the new mixed use zone. But when it was R3, there was outdoor amenity requirements with multi-use, multi-unit buildings. But we don't have that within the multi-unit requirements now. That was lost in that plan making process.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks,
And thank
Don.
you.
Okay, next we had, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Thank you, Your Worship. Is there not trees or shrubbery on the south side of the development? In the Coles sheet on page 6 there, I believe there was, where is it? Picture of the building and the parking lot. There's trees or shrubbery on the south side, is there not? There's a row of trees and shrubbery, or at least trees. Looks like big trees and small trees.
They're existing on the property below.
Oh, there, okay, sorry, okay, all right. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else, or? Okay, next on our agenda, we have Janice Macbeth, and her topic is planning documents. I believe you're already on there, Janice?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name's Janice Macbeth. I'm from Victoria Cross. I'm going to address 2 different planning documents tonight. Firstly, I want to address a previous meeting that was held November 27th, 2025. I spoke at that planning meeting and I referenced pages 42 and 46 from the official plan, pages 3, 7, 51, and 52 from the town's 2023 bylaw. The next town meeting on December 11th, the planning chair mistakenly said that I was reading from, at the November 27th meeting, an old, outdated document. I did not. After I spoke, I provided a page from the old Brudenell official plan to the chair, only to show the historical evolution of words of institutional zoning and permitted uses. It was also misstated the December 11th meeting that I repeated several times that I asked the town to follow the bylaw. I did not. Rather, I asked the town to collaborate with a registered planner to get our official plan and bylaws in line with other jurisdictions. The videos are on YouTube. This is a fact. I've emailed the town 3 times since the first week of January to have this corrected, with no actionable response. I would kindly request tonight that my statement refuting this misstatement is added to the town meeting minutes, so there is no more confusion with the press. My second planning documents tonight I'd like to speak about is the one that we're referring to tonight, our official plan and bylaw. And since the last planning board meeting, questions have risen from the application that was presented at the planning board meeting regarding the Gall Road and Murphy Lane building. At the planning board meeting, it was confirmed that there were 16 one-bedroom units and 8 two-bedroom units. However, since that meeting, one astute resident of Gall Street pointed out that 6 of these units in the building do not have any bedrooms. These 6 no-bedroom units were not indicated in the permit as presented for a decision to be made at planning board. This has made people question the use of the building. The present official plan and bylaw does not permit transitional housing in the uses list on page 46 of the bylaw. The zone uses list is what determines what can go in the zone. If this is a transitional housing type building, I would respectfully comment that this permit would also need to have a rezoning application submitted, as we are seeing in Charlottetown, with the City Council requiring public consultation for a proposed 11-unit transitional housing project on Hillsborough Street beside the Polyclinic. So my question to the town tonight when this application comes up for discussion, I would like the town to clarify if this building will be used in all or part for transitional style housing, and if so, could you explain to the public how it fits in the multi-use zone? Does anyone have any questions for me?
Questions for Janice?
Statements? Okay, so I guess I just have 1 minute left, and I just wanted to thank the mayor for bringing up the master plan document that was on social media. I think a lot of people saw that document, and I'm going to say thank you for that because I did attend that planning board meeting. And just to be clear, I mean, as a resident of this town, and I emailed the CAO about it, the visitor center gate guarding building application that night was, the master plan was mentioned in the preamble by the chair. The master plan was mentioned by one of the planning board members, and the master plan was mentioned by 2 other staff members. So, you know, to me, it seemed like a guiding document in that application for visitor center and gate guarding application, which at the time I did speak about, and I could not, and I still can't figure out how an accessory building without a main building fits the bylaw for zoning, especially since we're not using that document, and especially since there's no visitor center or gate guarding building in the uses in the institutional zone. So, thanks for that. I really appreciate it. It's great to have some clarity in the town. Thank you.
Okay. More questions for Janice? I guess she's finished her remarks. Okay, third we'll have Randy Mitchell and Meredith McCarville. I'm not sure if okay, and they are speaking on behalf of the Canadian Mental Health related to the multi-unit file.
Yes, I'm hoping we can answer some questions. So
Okay.
I'm Meredith McCarville,
Okay.
and I am a Director of Property and Tenant Relations with Canadian Mental Health Association. So I thank you for giving me the chance to maybe clarify a few things, some of the things I've heard tonight maybe. And of course, Randy's with me. Okay?
Maybe I'll just get Randy to...
Randy Mitchell, resident of Lower Montague and owner of Anchored Construction Group.
Right. Awesome, thank you. So as you know, CMHA, or maybe you don't know, we do work all across the province. And we have social rehabilitation programs where we do education, employment support, training, life skills, social rec programs. We have various housing programs. We do peer education, training workshops in the community. We are in the schools, all with the goal of strengthening and achieving positive mental health for all islanders. And so we are located, we have Charlottetown, places in Alberton and Summerside, and also in Montague, we do have an office here. So as part of our strategic plan, several years ago, we had identified a goal to explore and expand our programs into Eastern PEI. And in 2018, we did secure an office in Montague on Main Street. And so we do have a few programs that run out of that office, peer support and community education programs. And our workers there support people with advocacy, with suicide prevention, with coping strategies, with support groups, and meeting with people one-on-one. And community education does some training and education in the community. So in addition to these different programs that we've mentioned, we do have a diverse housing continuum, and it covers a wide spectrum of housing options across the island. And this does range from transitional housing to supported and supportive housing to independent affordable housing. We do have a total of 12 properties where we do these different models. Some of those are acquired and some of those we have built. Of these 12, 4 of them are independent or standard residential. Okay, and so we manage about 215 leases on the island, and that would include some rent subsidies. Of that, 93 would be standard units, or what we would call independent units. All of our housing projects are considered affordable, and that is the key component, or a key component to our tenant profile. And affordability means the housing cost is generally no more than 30% of a household's before tax income. And so for the scope of this development, we may be looking at a mixed model within that, and that really depends on the Build Canada criteria. It's a new program, so we'll be looking into that further. So this project would expand on our independent residential units, our standard units. So just to clarify that, so it would be a 24-unit project with a commercial space in it that we would like to use for our own offices, and as well as potentially other commercial tenants. We do have a property management and tenant relations team, and I'm the director of that team. And we do standard leases that you would expect from any residential rental on PEI. We operate as landlords. And so we're partnering with Anchored Construction on this project to apply to Build Canada Homes stream of funding for affordable housing. And I did hear a question about the studios. That is a model we often do use, is because that's where the need has been that we have seen, is to have a bachelor studio unit. So that's why we requested that they be in this building profile.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Spin.
The million-dollar question, what do we call affordable?
It is the million-dollar question. So I was reading today the Build Canada Homes, and so there is a calculation that you do use based on the income, and you look at the median of the location where they live, and you use that to gauge what the rental rate would be in that area.
And do we have a landlord that actually lives in the building?
We don't have landlords that live in our buildings.
Because we have somewhere throughout Three Rivers, a certain place that's, she's just pretty scary on some weekends, so.
We do have a property management team as well, and we're not opposed to having an in-house caretaker.
Which I think is great.
We would be so lucky to arrange that.
Yeah.
It would be great.
But I mean, you know, like, people talk about it all the time, right? That the renters basically do what they want and, you know, turn our little town upside down some weekends, so.
Well, that's the job of the landlord. Everyone has the right to safe, secure, and quiet enjoyment in their
Right.
building. So,
But so does everybody else, right?
yeah,
In the town.
that's what I mean. Everybody
Yeah.
does. So,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Van Donkersburg, go ahead.
Oops,
Are you-
what am I doing here? Okay.
Yep,
I just have a question, and I guess Randy, it's directed to you. There has been a couple of concerns about the large trees, and trees take a long time to grow. Is there a possibility when you look at that property that we can save any of those trees? And I understand that might make construction complicated, but is there a possibility of saving a tree?
If possible. I mean, I guess at this point, we are a long way from building anything or even laying anything out on that property. So, if we can find a way that's possible, yes, I know, we are doing, some fencing around one of the properties. I guess to jump on a different comment, if we had a new official plan signed, we could trade some of the parking lot spots that are, I think, probably excessive at this point and create more green space with that. And, that could be in a spot where there's a tree now, or we could plant a tree there. So,
Yeah, I would agree that the parking seems kind of excessive for the building, but you're right, it has to follow the
we have to
rules.
follow the
And at the
official
moment,
plan
yeah,
we have in place.
that's the rules we have in place, but
Yeah.
it's, okay.
anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to Haley Zavro, who's going to talk about Meals on Wheels.
Good evening. It's nice to see you all. Thanks so much for welcoming me. I'm here mainly because there's an item later on your agenda about the lease of the Cardigan station. And so I want to give you just a little bit of background about what,
Can you just tell us who you are?
sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
and who you're representing?
Haley Zavo, Executive Director with Meals on Wheels PEI, and I'm also a resident of Georgetown.
Thank you.
So Meals on Wheels, of course, has existed in Prince Edward Island in some communities for over 50 years. And delivers meals to older adults, people with disabilities, folks who face physical barriers to access. And so there's no doubt that the value of what Meals on Wheels does in our communities is high. And I'd like to thank the council for their recent approval of a grant for Meals on Wheels in Three Rivers. That it goes a long way to ensure that folks can access meals when they need it. In 2022, Meals on Wheels PEI was formed, and that's the provincial association that supports chapters across the province. We're the collaborative leader, and we're also tasked with looking at the unserved and underserved communities in Prince Edward Island that don't or didn't have access to meals through Meals on Wheels, and there were a lot when you kind of looked at the gaps. And so in 2024, in partnership with the province, we launched a new program called Rural Routes. Now, I should first say that most Meals on Wheels chapters across the province partner with health PEI facilities for their food provision. So here in Montague, for example, the Manor and the hospital each provide 15 meals 5 days a week. So that's kind of common where there are health PEI facilities. But of course, in some communities, there are no health PEI facilities. And so communities that want to access Meals on Wheels need to be creative and find other ways to do that. And so in 2024, when we launched our Rural Routes program, we were looking at those communities that didn't have direct access to health PEI facilities for meal provision. So those would be rural areas. They were areas in Three Rivers like Georgetown and Cardigan. They also include Eastern Kings, St. Peters, Vernon River, Belfast, North Shore, Hunter River, and North Rustico. And so currently that's where our Meals on Wheels Rural Routes program delivers. And Meals on Wheels PEI was overseeing the meal preparation for those meals. So we started out with private partnerships for that. We partnered with the Wheelhouse for almost a year, and then we partnered with the folks at Cardigan Station for almost a year. And then we made sort of the leap to hire our own chef, recognizing that that could help us increase our capacity and also give us a better sort of mission-focused approach to meal preparation and delivery. And so at that point, we partnered with the Vernon River Church Hall, St. Joachim's Church Hall, and we prepared meals out of their kitchen from September 2025 up until March 2026. And we knew that that was always sort of a short-term situation because you know, when you're navigating around another group, that's complicated. And so when the Cardigan Station sort of seemed to be coming available, it seemed like a really great fit for us. It was in a community where we were already providing meals. It was in a nice central location so that we could have a consistent kitchen space. And it also had extra space so that we could sort of expand some of our other programming that we've engaged in over the last number of years, which includes community food workshops and community meals. And I mean, if you're familiar with me at all, you know the sky's kind of the limit in what I think we could do with the space. But for the time being, our initial intention is just to sort of get things off the ground with our current meal preparation, which is delivering about 420 meals a week in communities in Eastern Prince Edward Island, including Three Rivers. And so I'm just here to sort of tell you what we're up to and why we're interested in leasing the space. And I hope that we can partner with you in the future.
Okay. Thanks for telling us about your program. Yeah, it certainly is. I know a lot of people that benefit. And yes, council is going to vote on that later, Haley. Thank you. Any questions for Haley? Okay. Okay.
That's great. Thanks very much. And I
Okay.
have to run out now to
Yep.
play the piano.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our last speaker for this evening is Derek Nicholson, and Derek's going to talk about Shelterbox International.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship, for allowing me the privilege of being here. I took a little light with me because sometimes it's good to shine a little bit of light on the situation.
I know we all know who you are, but
Okay.
since we're recording, we get
okay.
everybody.
My name is Derek Nicholson, and I'm representing Shelterbox International as the ambassador for Prince Edward Island.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be here and shine a little light on an issue that we address right across the world. Shelterbox International is an organization that has been providing homes for over 110 million people who have been displaced in the world due to storms and conflicts mainly. Imagine if you came home tonight and your home wasn't there, what would you do? Where would you go? The mission of Shelterbox is to provide shelter for human beings because shelter is a human right. We don't just provide tents, we provide the foundation for the family to build their lives. I actually have a Shelterbox tent that I will set up at anybody's event. It takes 2 other people to help me because it's a pretty big thing to put up. But when you get inside it and you realize that 6 or 7 people will live in this tent, sometimes mainly for the rest of their life because their home or their village is completely destroyed. So Shelterbox International, it has international reach, and it links itself up with Rotary International. So it's a project of Rotary International in partnership with us, and the reason why Rotary International and Shelterbox come together, because Rotarians are pretty smart people and they know how to get things done. They're the boots on the ground. And when an incident happens around the world, we're there to help. But what we do is we go beyond the tent. It's not always a physical box anymore. In fact, Sheltered Box, that were noted for these green boxes that you'd see on the news, they now have changed it, and we provide customized aid based on the climate and based on the crisis. This Luma aid here that blows up, it's a solar charged light. It actually has a charger on the top so you can charge your cell phone. Because in some of these foreign countries, they don't have phone lines, but everybody has a cell phone, so you can charge your cell phone. And if you have to leave your shelter at night to go use the facilities that aren't there, but you have to go outside, you can actually take a light with you. And it'll shine different colors. The kids inside the tent at night doing their homework, because there's schooling still happening in these countries where there's no homes. There's still an semblance of education taking place. We provide high-spec tents built for extreme weather. So in the colder climates, we have winter tents. In fact, I have a tent that actually have a stove that goes right inside it, so you can actually cook right inside the tent. It's really neat to see. Our shelter kits are heavy-duty tarps, and they supply tools for people like hammers, saws, nails, pliers, wire, blankets, insulated tarps. Whatever you need to turn something into a home for you and your family. The result of what we provide, it takes a site and turns despair into a home. It provides privacy and security and the dignity one needs to start over their life. Why is Shelter Box Canada needed? Because climate disasters, the making of storms, the frequency and the intensity and the conflicts are longer lasting, and the need is outstripping the resource. How can you help? Just inviting me here to let you know about what the work we do around the world is help enough. Knowing that there's people around the world that need a home and there's organizations that provide it, I'm proud to be an ambassador of that. 1.9 million people are displaced in 2026 and have no place to live. How many people in our communities have no place to live? Thank you for allowing me the time to tell you about Sheltered Box International.
Thank you, Derek. Questions for Derek? Thank you. Derek's left each of us a brochure. I can definitely see a need for this with the several wars that are going on in the world these days, and families being unhomed and losing their home. It's a sad time. Any questions? Okay. Okay, we are going to move on, and next on our agenda is reports, and the first report is the mayor's report. It's included in your package, and I'll just briefly go over it. The past month has been a busy and energizing time in our communities. We transition from winter to spring activities. Although it's May, our rink continues to see significant juice, with Atlantic Hockey Group wrapping up on May 3rd, followed by the Barn two-line teams and Empower Her teams closing at the end of the ice times. I think that ended, the ice times ended yesterday. It's the first time in my 15 years in council that I recalled work being done in our ball fields and the rink's still open, but maybe I'm wrong. And anyway, it's a testament to the dedication of our staff and the strong demand for recreation opportunities in Three Rivers. On April 14th, I attended the Three Rivers Economic Development Committee meeting at CBDC. The committee was introduced to Mel Pasher, CBCD's new Senior Project Officer. We look forward to working with her. She's seems like a very ambitious person. Took on a job the first day we met her. So the meeting included updates on the e-bike projects in the Pools Corner Industrial Park, along with discussions on several new initiatives that support growth and innovation in our region. I've also had recent conversations with staff from the Boys and Girls Club, and am pleased to announce that the club will be reopening this fall. A recent needs assessment that they discussed with me highlighted the interest and priorities of local youth, and the reopening will provide a safe, supervised, and welcoming space for young people after school. On April 17th, I attended the final Crib Club gathering at the School of Georgetown. It's been a joy to participate in these events, and I met so many students throughout the year, and I actually learned how to play crib. I want to thank you to Vice Principal Michael Brothers for the kind invitations for supporting such a positive program in that school. On April 23rd was a day full of community engagement. I was invited by Minister Corey Deagle to attend the National Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Week event at the Cavendish Farms Wellness Center. Minister Deagle signed a proclamation honoring Brodie McCarthy, announcing funding for a new position to support island families throughout the donation process. I'm sure everybody has heard of the tragic passing of Brodie several years ago, and because he was an organ donor, he saved the lives of 5 people. Later that day, I joined the Easter Seal Ambassador Tour at the Montague Consolidated School. It was wonderful meeting Rowan and his family, the Rotarians, and representatives from Tim Hortons. The enthusiasm of the students made that event fairly memorable. On August 27th, Councillors Van Donkerk and McDonald, along with CAO and Deputy CAO, attended the Federation of PEI Municipalities AGM at Credit Union Place in Summerside. The well-attended event provided valuable opportunities to learn, share experiences, engage with colleagues from across the province, and we also interacted with several ministers and other government people that attended. On May 6th, I had the pleasure of working at McDonald's in Montague for McHappy Day. I should say that Councillor Spin was also there, although our paths crossed. He was there at different times. It was a huge success, and we had a lot of fun with the staff there. McHappy Day is McDonald's largest annual fundraising event in Canada, supporting families with critically ill or injured children through Ronald McDonald House programs. And I can tell you, those staff at McDonald's are busy. That drive-through window never stopped the whole time we were there. Since our last meeting, staff and I have also had the opportunity to spend with 2 students enrolled in the UPEI Medical School, which was a great opportunity. We had these conversations allow students to learn about the needs of our community, and they're always meaningful exchanges of ideas and perspectives. It's part of their curriculum that they go out and meet people in the communities, and it's great to talk to these students and try to maybe give them a little hint that we'd like for them to stay on PEI. As always, you can always contact me. I'm accessible by any email, phone, or send me an email or give the office a call and they can get a hold of me. Okay, that's my report, and I'll turn it over to the CAO for his report.
Could I add one for a minute?
Yes, go ahead, Wayne.
I don't know if you actually got there Saturday or not, but I'd like to congratulate Wendy and Jerry Foote for opening their new Appleseed up here in Queens Road. Everybody pretty well knew where they were. They were in the basement of the Pentecostal Church for 16 years, and their new business is beautiful, and I wish them all the best for years to come.
Yes, it looks like a great, I haven't had an opportunity to get there yet, but it certainly looks like a very inviting place to have your children looked after. Beautiful new building there that was much needed and opens up a lot more spaces. A number of people, I know my daughter was really lucky to get a daycare space in a smaller daycare, but I know people that have been on daycare lists for ages, so that's a very, very much needed thing for our community.
I just wish they'd build one for us seniors next, so.
They're shorting beds for the seniors, Wayne, so. Okay, sorry, John, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report is really short this week. I was off last week with pneumonia and still working through it. The one item I did want to report on, as Haley mentioned, in May 2024, Council approved a lease arrangement with the Cardigan train station with Corkdork Hospitality. and they operated a cafe and pub from the location. The lease agreement allowed them to terminate the lease upon providing 90 days' notice, which they did on January 28th, 2026, and their lease, as a result, expired on April 27th. Subsequent to that, Meals on Wheels, as Haley mentioned, is an incorporated nonprofit, and they provide meals to individuals with physical barriers across the island. They've approached us regarding leasing the station for a 3-year term. They want to use the facility as a food preparation and operational center, and they may have other activities there as time goes on. The lease arrangement are basically the same as those approved by council for the previous tenants of the property. I've included a copy of the proposed lease agreement in the package for your review, and as we noted earlier, Haley was here to also present their plans. And that's the extent of my ability to talk, so that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Don. So we are now moving on to development permit report. It's on page 37, 7.3 in your agenda. It's a report for April 1st, April 30th, 2026. And it's certainly an active time in Three Rivers for our planning department. I'm just very pleased to see so many single-family dwellings on it again this month. That's a very positive note for any municipality or any town. Any questions or? Okay. So now we'll move on to 7.4, which is the planning board report, and I shall turn that over to the planning board chair, Councillor Van Donkers. Good. 7.4.1, and I think we start on page 39.
Thank you. All right, so we all have the proposed development in front of us. So I'm going to read the motion from Planning Board. Therefore, the Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to Council to approve the following motions. Proposed 3-story mixed-use development with 24 residential units and 3,000 square feet of office space at Murphy Lane and Gall Road, Montague, PIDs 199232, 19887, and 19224 with the following conditions. The permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. Any proposed changes or revisions to the approved plans must be submitted to the development officer for approval. Prior to construction, a construction erosion control plan shall be submitted to the development officer for approval. The plan shall include all locations of all silt fencing, silt dams, sediment traps, and all other proposed means of erosion control marked as on an appropriate plan. All approved silt controls shall be implemented at the time of commencement and maintained throughout the construction period. The applicant shall be responsible for all remedial measures arising from the construction impacts, including road cleaning when required. The applicant is required to obtain an entrance and culvert permit from the Department of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy. A master servicing plan shall be provided to the Montague Water and Sewer Collection and Treatment Corporation for review and approval prior to the commencement of development. 6, all soft and hard landscaping shall be completed prior to the first occupation of the building unless otherwise agreed by the development officer. 7, the development shall not be commenced until such time as parcels 199232, 19887, and 199224 has been issued a final consolidation approval. And 8, the following constitutes the approved plans. The development permit application form received April 10th, 2026. Drawings A000, A100, A101, A102, A104, A200, A201, A300 received April 10th, 2026. And drawing C100 revised received April 14th, 2026.
Okay, you've heard the motion. I need a mover and a seconder for the development, for the motion.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor McFarland, second by? Second by Deputy Mayor Jenkins. Discussion? John, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Reading over Ms. Scott's proposal, request there, I agree with a lot of it. It'll be a little while before the sidewalk will go up there. You know how hard to get sidewalks in town. Perhaps night lighting sometime, we could throw another, we could look at putting another light in there when perhaps the building is up and we know exactly where to put it. To Mr. Mitchell, I would love to see some green space in there as well, and if we could save a tree or two. John and I had discussed Gall Road last year. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some work done to that within the next year or two, and Campbell as well, because both of them are sorely need some work. But other than that, I think it would be an asset to the town, especially more housing. Thank you.
Okay. Alan?
Yeah, Darlene made some really good points this evening in terms of sidewalks, lighting, the road in poor condition. I like this project. I'd like to see it go ahead at some point, but the town has been after the province for years to get a proper traffic study done. They came back to us in 2024, and we sent it right back to them. I don't know, I have to go back through it. I think it was from the Superstore lights to Sobey lights, basically. That area of the end of Gall Street exiting onto Main is a real issue. I would like to table this motion until the province gets back to us with a proper traffic study, and that's what I'm suggesting here right now.
Okay, you're making that motion? Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Second by Councillor Spin. Okay, we'll have to vote on tabling the motion then. All in favor signify by raising your hand.
Discussion about that, yeah.
Sorry. Yep, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, who do I have? I have Wayne first.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo Councillor Monroe's comments too. There's going to be a lot of traffic in that little area up there. And I find we live in an apartment building behind Tim Hortons, and it seems like we're getting crowded and crowded more up that way. Once again, we definitely need a little green space. We definitely need a traffic study. Like Darlene said, the road is pathetic. And right now, like Councillor Monroe, I'd just like to table it. And no, I'm not against development. I just think that we need a few answers.
John?
Thank you, Your Worship. Traffic study, it's a long time coming the way we wanted it, because it certainly didn't encompass, what we were given certainly didn't encompass what the needs are for this town, or this part of the town anyway. But I don't know how much time we have to allow the province to do that. I mean, they certainly should have something ready to go now, because we've already addressed it again. Would we be able to hold off a month for this? This is building season. But it would be something to, could we get an answer back from the province before for the next COC, or another week?
John, can I ask?
We can certainly ask the question.
Yeah.
And we have been asking.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. Okay, Ann?
I'd like to just say that, just to go back to, we are required to follow our own bylaws. And so as far as the green space and the parking, we're tied by the rules that we have right now. So that's a separate issue. Comments to Councillor Spin's things. As to the traffic study, I think that I'm not opposed to delaying this for a traffic study, but I think we need a time limit. We can't, there's a lot of work goes into a development, and I don't think we can have it open-ended. And so table it to look at next month's meeting when we know know whether the province can come back I would vote in favor of that, but I can't vote in favor of something that doesn't have at least a timeline for how we're doing or some progression or whatever. Anyway, that's my comments.
Alan?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've been waiting years on the province for a traffic study. I think the waiting time is over. It's time to put some pressure on them to get it done. Our town has changed so much in the last 3-4 years since we first requested this. The province needs to come through on this. We're sick of waiting on this. They've had all kinds of time. The first one that came back was very poorly done, and council in a matter of minutes sent it back to them. You know, there's going to be commercial space in this residential building as well. So we don't know what that looks like for sure. Who the leasee could be, how much traffic could come and go. We need a traffic study done.
I couldn't agree with you more, Alan, about a traffic study. It doesn't take rocket science to know that we have a real problem on Main Street, and especially at the intersection of Gall. So, yeah, and when we did have construction last year, it was like the Indy 500 going out Central Street through the Clay Road. So, you know, to ask the province at this point in a project to do a traffic study, I could see that taking 6 months to a year. Do we hold up a project for 6 months to a year? Because I personally think that we should set up our own committee of a plan, a high-level plan of where, I think, you know, I have my own answers to that. But, you know, there's some healthy discussions that have gone on about where to redirect traffic. And so would we stall this? When you guys are talking about a traffic study, do you think a reasonable amount of time is 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? Like, that's what we're talking to get the province to do a traffic study, in-depth one, a good one. Are they?
I agree.
We've given the province all kinds of time to do a traffic study. We've given them years. So they need to come to us now with, if they want housing and they want solutions, we've asked for this for years. So, you know, it's up to the province. And they look at it, well, I don't know why we'd make a committee when they're in charge of streets and roads, not us.
Is anybody holding their feet to the fire on this? Like, the government's
There's lots of
changed.
issues we've had with the province, as you're aware, that are holding up certain things.
Yeah, I am aware. So when you mentioned earlier, Randy, that, you know, we could do it pending, like, smaller parking lots and more green space, if we had a signed plan, that's being held up now. That's not going to change our parking lots? Okay.
No, it's what, I think what Randy meant was if we had our new bylaws signed off, that there could be some things looked at with less parking and more, and which would allow for more. Is that correctly?
Your Worship, we had a proposal regarding reducing on-site parking, acknowledging that we have some older parts of town that don't necessarily have the ability to deliver those. It is a 1.5 space per unit requirement currently in the bylaw, and as you can see from the drawings, that does take up a lot of space. Yep. Underground car parks are expensive. That was a solution at the School Street Apartments. It isn't a solution here that's being put forward. So I too have awaited this traffic study because we were talking about traffic studies, and I've been listening to the debate about traffic studies since I arrived. And this has been an ongoing situation, and I'm very conscious of the first study not being sufficient. It's a busy Main Street. There's 12,000 some vehicles that go down there daily. The province do publish their annual daily traffic counts. Gall Road isn't part of those measured statistics, but you can see them. It's not live data, it's part of the measurements which are taken. You'll often see the double lines in the road. Is that study relevant to this project? Loosely, but does that study that we've been awaiting for years, it feels like, I think it is, how does that affect this proposal? Well, this proposal, I would suggest, stands in isolation to that traffic study. Now, I say that with the reasons that we have a conditional requirement regarding the access. Now, the access isn't just simply about can I access the public road. That is the start of that conversation. The entranceway permit looks to the suitability of the access for the development proposal being set forward, the number of units, the commercial space, all of those things would factor in, is that road appropriate for this? Or as we were discussing in planning board, are there any requirements for upgrades that are needed? There's been talk about the condition of the road, and there's been talk about the width of the road. Now, I know that the applicant has been discussing this with DTI as these processes have gone on, and we're not at that stage where an entranceway permit has been issued because, of course, no development permit has been issued. So when push comes to shove, that's, I would suggest, is probably the more appropriate mechanism of, can that road accommodate this level of development? That's where that discussion is held. Appreciate we've all got opinions on it, Your Worship, but that's my 2 cents on it. And of course, it's a decision of council, so I will leave it with you.
No, we're, so Lee, just what you're saying is that when the province looks at what we've requested, what are the conditions on here, which is the entrance, which condition was that? No, condition 4, that the applicant is required to obtain an entrance permit from the Department of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy. That is when those considerations will be looked at?
I'd suggest it is, and from the experience we have had with the previous apartments, that's when that's looked at, and the DTI don't generally get engaged at very early stages. We know that from experience, and that's why we have that condition, Your Worship, is to ensure that those talks take place. And I believe I've touched on the point many times with regards to conditional requirements of a permit, is your permit's not worth nothing if you don't discharge your conditions. It's not worth the paper it's written on if you can't get an entranceway permit for a development. It's not worth the paper it's written on if you can't discharge any other condition. Perhaps it might be a development agreement. So if any of those requirements aren't met, there is no permit, there is no development. Our permits do not override other authorities permitting in their own right too. Could be the Department of Environment, could be the Department of Transport. So all of these various stakeholders and players have to all align for there to be a building at the end of that.
Yeah, so all these 8 conditions have to be met, including number 4. Okay, so right now where we're at is we have a motion to table with a seconder. Are we through into the discussion and want to vote on the motion to table? Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Your Worship. I'm agreeing with what everybody's saying here already. I think if we, 1 month is not going to make a big difference. I think if we present that question to the province for the study with the timelines, like we should re-enter this back in no more than a month to reassess what we're going to maybe move ahead. I want to see this project go through, but it is going to be a major concern with the traffic there. So I think maybe that's the route we should go. That's I will support the month of timeline for that.
Okay, so am I hearing that we have a motion, that we're gonna vote on a motion to table to move it forward to the next month's council meeting? And we are going to reach out to the province for further information on this traffic study. Is that what I'm hearing? Pardon? Does the mover agree to the change?
We will go to a month, but we will still have to hear back from them in that month.
So we'll move it to the next council meeting. Do you have? Yeah, I'm just gonna, if you have it down, I'll read it again. I'm putting you, just 1 second till we get, I want to be clear in the motion. Sorry for the rush. Yeah, yeah. So, there's a motion on the floor, request to move it forward to the next regular council meeting and give the province, a month to respond until the next council meeting, to our concerns with the traffic. So we're moving, traffic study, so we're moving it forward to the next council meeting, okay? So, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, nobody opposed? Okay. So that motion is carried. We'll table it for 1 month. So the other motion is dead on the floor. Okay, so. Next is 7.5 is our financial report. And it's included in your package on page 81. And Don will give an update on that. Go ahead, Don.
Thank you, Worship. Before I start, I want to mention that there were a few minor changes to the financial statement since it was posted on Friday. You will find the updated financial statement along with the capital investment statement, including your package on pages 81 and 82. So tonight's financial statement recap represents the town's final financial position for the fiscal year and includes both operational results and capital activity completed through the municipality. From an operational perspective, the town finished the year in a strong financial position. The revenues came in approximately $418,000 over the budget, largely reflecting continued growth, mainly in property tax revenue and development activity. At the same time, expenditures were carefully managed throughout the year, with total expenses coming in approximately $250,000 under budget, while maintaining service levels across the municipality. As a result, the town finished the year with an operating surplus of approximately $535,000 prior to capital purchases funded through the operations. On the capital side, the town completed approximately $2.5 million in capital purchases and projects during the fiscal year. Major investments include the Brudenell Active Transportation Project, Queen Street sidewalks, Station Street pathways, karting and playground improvements, streetscape enhancements, and various equipment and facility upgrades throughout the town. These projects were funded through a combination of provincial and federal funding programs, reserves, operational cash flow, which reduced reliance on borrowing, which continued while continuing to invest in long-term infrastructure. Overall, the town closes the 2025-2026 fiscal year in a healthy and stable financial position. Thank you.
Thanks, Don, for that good news. Questions for Don? Go ahead, Wayne.
Don, what did they do with the Cardigan ball field? What?
Go ahead, yeah.
No, yeah, but I'm looking at Cardigan ball field. What was it?
Are you looking at the capital purchase from cash flows, Wayne? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Dorothy.
Yes, the ball field did have quite a few upgrades to fencing and landscaping last year.
So that was done for this year, you mean, or last year?
So we are attempting new upgrades this year, but that is last year's upgrades.
Well, just enough, we're now into this year's budget. That was what we spent in the Cardigan ball fields that were capital from our surplus, right, Don? From our, yeah.
Yeah, that is the 2025-2026 fiscal year, which ended on March 31st, 2026. We are currently in our 2026-2027 fiscal year, which will end next March 31st, 2027.
Right. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I just had a question about the Pools Corner water study, 25,000. Is that, I see, obviously we paid the bill, did we? Yeah, or it wouldn't be on here. So is that study complete?
Yeah, it's completed. It was presented to Soar and Water a month, 2 months ago. And it looked at a couple of options for standalone water system or connecting the current system that we have to Pools Corner. And the cost of connecting from, and the upgrades, I think was seven plus million, if I recall from the study. It is available that we can
Yeah,
share.
okay. Can I get a copy?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Don? Did you have anything else you wanted? No. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. So now we're on to our requests for decisions from Committee of Council. The first one is 2619 Montague Streetscape Lighting. Just a second. Okay, the motion is that it be it resolved that Hanson's be awarded the lighting contract for 18 new streetlight fixtures on Main Street in Montague in the amount of $156,000, $156,442 plus HST, which amounts to $179,903 and 30 cents. The amount will be sourced from the Canada Community Building Fund. Okay, moved by Councilor McFarland, second by Councilor McDonald. Ann, discussion.
So just to confirm, this is light fixtures for Main Street. Okay.
Well, not necessarily all Main Street, but Dorothy, you correct
It
me.
just says Main Street.
There is, it's the old streetscapes, I think, is it not? So what, there is some lights out behind, in the area behind the Bank of Nova Scotia and where CBCD's parking lot is. Those are on the replacement list, I believe. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we have a mover to seconder, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, don't see anybody opposed, motion is carried. Okay. Next is a request for decision 2620, which is engineering services for John Beer Drive sidewalks. And, shoot, I'm sorry. So the motion there is be it resolved that Coles be awarded the contract for engineering services for John Beer Drive sidewalk project in the amount of $33,128 plus HST, which brings it to $38,097.20. Funding will be sourced from the CZBF 12.5.7 sidewalk expansion project. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor Van Donkersgoed. Discussion. All good? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, don't hear any opposed. And our last one is RFD 2621, which is the mascot design for RIV. Okay, this motion is be it resolved that the town of Three Rivers proceed with the mascot design from Madewell Mascots in the amount of $8,300 plus HST. Shipping and handling amounts to $10,177.50. Funding to be sourced from operating expenses. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Spin, second by Councilor McDonald. Discussion. So we're going to have a RIV. John?
Thank you, Your Worship. I can't wait to see Riv's first debut, and John will be in him.
We may need a few volunteers for that. So anyway, we'll have to put out a call, John. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion is carried. The next on our list is 8.4 is 26-25 Cardigan Train Station lease. And motion there is be it resolved that the town of Three Rivers agrees to enter into a 3-year lease arrangement with Meals on Wheels PEI Incorporated for the Cardigan train station. Moved by Councilor Spin, second by Councillor McDonald, discussion, Ann?
So this is the copy of the lease? Yeah, we have a typo with some dates on, the second page. Okay. Other than that, it's great.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. All in favor? Oh, sorry, no, go
Can I
ahead.
just ask a question, and maybe futile, I'm not sure, but, do we have to allow other people or other ones know about the train station availability? I'm all in favor of Meals for Wheels, don't get me wrong, but are we obligated to post that thing about this?
We didn't post in the previous arrangement, so, and the amount is $5 a year.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, we have it in the past.
Okay, all in favor? Did we vote? Okay, motion is carried. I don't see any nays. Okay. So, we're down to 9.1 is, go into a closed, session, and I need to move in a seconder to move to the closed session. So moved by Councilor McFarland, second by, Deputy Mayor Jenkins. Okay, all in favor? Okay, we'd have to, ask you to leave as we're going into a closed session, but we will readjourn if, reopen if there is, to make any motions. Okay, our session is now open, and at this time, we do not have any motions to make, so I'll call for motion for adjournment. Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Deputy Mayor Jenkins. All in favor? Okay, thank you, everyone, and thanks for attending tonight. So our meeting is now closed.